G'day everybody. I want to talk about issues that happen because of contracts and secret deals. As it's happening behind the scenes, happening for a while, it seems to be getting worse, and it seems to cause deaths and issues and problems besides a little bit of inflation. It doesn't cause inflation, all adds up, right? When it comes to buying the right parts. Now we have Bunnings, right? Now Bunnings advertises that you can do it yourself things, right? And then we have things like electricians and plumbers that are in certain fields where most of the work, 90% of the work, say you need a professional. So we do understand that the professionals need to get their bits, right? And to stop others from doing so bad, they don't sell these bits at certain areas. Sometimes you have to be a plumber and be in a profession to go to a certain store and able to purchase or even know where these stores are, right? As they're not advertised to the public. The thing is advertised to the public mainly is Bunnings, right? And Bunnings saying do it yourself. You can do everything yourself. So you hear one thing over here, but there's a truth over there, right? And we've got ads that allow to spread propaganda pretty much about all sorts of things, and so we get this thing called the land of confusion that I just bung up on the playlist, right? Land of confusion. It depends on how it resonates. The songs, people can look at songs differently. Some people think that people listen to heavy metal are mainly crackheads and wild people, but it's not true. Right? Mainly, you might be right, but it doesn't mean someone does something or something's put up and it resonates a certain way to you, why it's there in the first place, or it's correct of how it resonates. Right? That's why I make up certain playlists, try to get you to understand how it resonates for a few people, right, collectively, of what's going on. And so we also have eBay, YouTube, and the internet. Now the internet is the same thing. When it comes to eBay, eBay's like a Bunnings, it's an advertising thing. It's not about being right, it's about selling, right? And they'll speak a lot of propaganda about that selling. And then we have things that the government support and stuff like that in Bunnings, and they say yourself when things are hard, and you should love to do things yourself. But we're getting in the land of confusion and control more and more because of these areas of control, pretty much, right? In certain areas. Now everyone's getting punished for the little. It's the same thing in every sector. So everyone's getting, you can't go find the proper stuff because some might abuse it, right? Which is what I was talking about with all the plumber and electrician, right? And these cases still happen anyway. Usually the ones that want to abuse it, like a bad guy, would find a gun, would find to do it, right? Bits and tools, right? They're the ones that do that. And so that problem's always going to happen because something went wrong in the education. They didn't care about it, didn't get educated, and all these things. Which is why I talk about how Australia's become a pansy place as if you ban things and not allowed to use things and believe that you shouldn't be able to play with them and all these things, then you're going to become people who can't defend from those things because you don't use it, right? Or know about it so much. So you have to rely on others, which becomes a pansy in a certain way. So how do we stop fires and all these things happening? By cheap, do it yourself. When we have this issue, when it comes to the contracts that they have with plumbers and the government, and they're trying to push you as well to not do it, right? A little bit like the cigarette thing. They up the cigarettes because they're trying to make you not do it. But the key is, it's not to do all these things because when you do these, I'm doing this to try and make you not do it, that move is creating 10 other problems, you see? So when that happens, or 2 or 3, right, all the same, it's causing another rebound somewhere else, right, just as bad. And so you're not helping at all, are you? You're just passing stuff or making it worse, right? And so the only way to help is to educate properly everybody to see the right points and to do the right decisions fairly for everybody, right? Which is education. Find out why are people still doing this? Why do we need up cigarettes? You can keep upping it, and these people, more likely who are addicted and need it, and need other help in other ways, but can't get it, will still want the cigarettes, and you're just making their life harder, right? And then you pass it off to the bad guys, right, with their market, and see what you're doing. When you should just leave it alone. People have free will, that's what free will and God tries to teach you, right? And education. And if they go smoke too much and get cancer, so be it. That is free will. I'm happy to advertise that, right? But I'm also happy to advertise that smoking is bad for you and you shouldn't have it, right? And promote to the kids that you shouldn't have that way, and we'll make it a little harder for people to easily get it, the younger ones, right? If you ever want people to quit, you just make it harder for something who hasn't started, not something who's already in it. You shouldn't do that to help me, right? You're just being a bully to help. Or perhaps I'll just, what they say, two wrongs don't make a right, that guy's punching. Perhaps I'll go punch him in the face. And in some cases it does work, but then in a lot of cases it makes it worse, right? You know, you want to fight now and then I'm going to bring your mates and so on, right? You could have approached it in another way, right? And so when it comes to these bits, I find the government needs to just get serious about selling bits, right? And I'm telling people they just can't do what in these areas at all when it comes to do it yourself, right? Like when it comes to camping gear, like you can go to a camping place and you can get the basics of the camping stuff, but everyone's not on the basics anymore, right? Everyone's got caravans and things like that, and they want to replace things, and they're built properly, but then when they go to replace it, they don't want to pay for a lot of money. People who've got stuff, when inflation happens, it happens to the people who work for what they're living for, right? And so you don't have a lot of money, you save up and buy something because you've got something, right? And you can end up having all these things look like you're rich, but you slowly earn to it. But you're not rich. You can't go buy things, you can't go get an electrician, right? And pay a whole shitload more money than that electrician, than what you earn. And you're not earning money yourself on work, or you can't pay for everything, there's too many people to pay for, or you're one paycheck, right? That's living beyond your means. We're starting to get that, right? Because everyone wants a paycheck. Right? I understand that. But your best is to sell the right products. Right? Right products and education. If people fuck up, insurance can fix that area when it comes to people doing it themselves and things fuck up. Well, that goes through insurance and find out why they did it, who did it, no paperwork, all this kind of stuff. People will do what they do. If they're going to do it, they'll use a dodgy part or a good part. So you might as well give them a good part in that area. In that, right? And if something goes wrong with that good part or not, they'll learn the consequences. Instead of able to have an excuse of the dodgy part and try to get away from it. You shouldn't even be doing it in the first place, right? And when it comes to that area, we'll have problems with dodgy parts. And I've noticed when it comes to more and more, and when you have this area, you can even have shortages of the say Reese, so you have these places like Reese and all that sells these things and don't advertise so much. Some places similar to Reese and only sell to people who are contracted, right, to help and make sure that other people are not doing certain things. It's just best. Oh, what I was going to say, they even run out of parts there, right? Plumbers and that was happen, right? And they go Bunnings. So when they have their secondary choice, they go there, they hear that it's alright, so it's happening to them too, right? And then they got to learn the hard way and spread around, but it constantly happens. And then they get something new, Bunnings always constantly changes products, a few years later. So they're like, oh shit, I'll go try that. And then once again, cop it again, right? Or it's not. And sometimes it isn't, right? And it does work out. And so that makes them go, well, shit, we'll have to go, we'll go to Bunnings, right? You might work it, but then it might not, right? So it's best to have top products sold at top places, that's it. Like, if you're going to have them separate contracts, you're going to stick that way, you believe that way is the best way, and the people can't be trusted. It's always good to get trust from the people. Back in the day, that was the number one thing, to educate them, make sure everyone's on the same boat, and then that way you can give everyone the same stuff, can't you? Right? What's going to happen if you do such things? And if it goes wrong, right, what consequences should you get when things go wrong, when you do such things? Right? You can't blame people for doing things before it goes wrong, you certainly can when it goes wrong, right? And then people try to blame the court that it's a dodgy product, but if we get rid of that dodgy product, then people will just get in trouble for what they do. If it happens more often, so be it. But then you might find it hardly ever happens. As a lot of times when people do stuff for themselves, they use dodgy products, you see? Right? It's a pattern. And so you've got to fix something somewhere. There's always several ways to go around, so I'll explain two ways. Either get rid of it altogether, right? And then you've got to make sure that that sector's sold, or the other sector's not selling anything cheapo about it. Right? So it's not there to get, right? It's not there to gamble with to see if it'll work or not. You don't want that, you want it work or not place. You want a place where just, it is what it is. And if it fails because the human, it's the best of the human switches, you know what I mean? Pretty much. You're not going to get much better. They need to work on making a better switch, you know what I mean? Like when it comes to technology and stuff. And that's what we need. And manufacture the shit out of that, and competition the shit out of that, of how people can get it cheaper in cheaper areas and don't have to truck off and all that. Competition will always be there, right, in prices, but you don't need that other bullshit, right? It's just flooding the market. We keep hearing about flooding the market. That's what I'm talking about. It's flooding the market with crap. We used to just cut it off, I reckon. And then the government needs to go, before you cut it off, every time when you go to cut off the sector, you make sure there's a few products available, a good choice of course, reliable choice, with warranties for real, right, 5, 10 years, it will work, it should not fuck up at all, using it the way it is, where you can buy things from China, it says 48 watt, yeah it works for fucking a little bit, and then it doesn't. No, we want to prove that it works for 5 years and have a 5-year warranty or a 10-year warranty. That way you can know when you need to check it up properly, right? That's what warranties are all about. Everything should all have a warranty on it. So we know, roughly, when it's going to fuck up and fuck up before then it shouldn't fuck up. That's what warranties are all about, isn't it? And we don't have much of that. Everything should have a warranty. Unless it's too cheap, a couple of bucks, like to a certain price, you know? They should have a warranty. Say $50 or something, $100. Should all come with warranties, or if it's a reliable bit that people will use all the time. Make sure it's reliable. I think that's all I've got to say about that. And see, in all those sectors cause each other problems, don't they? And you just go higher, fix certain areas, you'll find, like we talked about, you'll fix all these other problems. Like people are going, well, insurance needs to change this and that. It's not so much changing all these things and trying to fight it, as they say. It's best to go, where's the bottom line, let's go a bit higher. You might find that if we go up here, this will solve all these issues down there, right, when it comes to those areas. Like, imagine how much money you've got. Like, when you fuck up, right, you can use that fuck up to try to make it better again. Definitely if it's a financial, like, charging, like, in this case, what I'm about to talk about is the government with cigarettes. They charge all this money, right? We have all this money. And I've talked about education, or change the policies, make it script, make it just same cost, a little bit of profit, same cost as like everything else would be. In the country is free, you're just allowed to smoke them. You just got to prove to the doctor from a certain point on, no one can get a script from that point on, right? Everyone has a time limit, like giving a gun, collecting guns from people, a time limit to go get these things done, and then that's it. No more licenses issued, no one should whinge about being addicted and getting wrecked and pushed and anything, right? And then if anyone else comes in new, well, you'll have a new law for them, and they shouldn't have done it, right, as it was already wrong in the first place, and you don't condone cigarettes. We're abolishing it. But the people who are already on it, we decided to do that outcome and save the new generation to even worry about it, or you can see it, and then see it, and kind of thing. Right? But they're going to see it, but at least they'll know that it's wrong, and they're the only ones, and it's going to just be, there's no use trying to get addicted to it. You know, eh? But anyway, the government goes the other way. Oh, and what they can do, if they've got all this money already with the cigarette area, they could use that to start a program or to make that kind of thing happen. They've collected all this money for what? Is it for that sector? That's what I've talked about when it comes to Medicare and that. Every sector should either pay for themselves, right, or to at least function in a way where it's like on your debt. And so that way you can have even more, and if every sector does that, you'll have so much money where you can make even new projects, new sectors. But it's hard to make new sectors and even more projects when you have so many projects that you're band-aiding like they are with Medicare. Right? There's a system where you could make money for you, like private healthcare. The private healthcare can make money on a really good system, then why can't the government do a similar thing? And you charge people the same thing, the government runs it. That's what they're paying for in Medicare, and everyone gets that Medicare, right? Or that insurance, everyone will get the same thing. Nice cheap insurance sorts it all out and makes money. It's not making money, it'll change it for everyone will be treated the same, rich and poor, when it comes to that system, you see? And the rich can help fix the poor when they're in the same system as the rich can afford to do things. So when the prices go up to fix the system and make money or to collect money, as you might need more tools or an upgrade, poor might suffer a little bit, and then once the upgrade is done, the rich will still keep coming because they'll need it and they've got the money. So you put prices up, right? And then in a certain area, you can leave the prices the same, you're not losing money, but you bang up the price in the areas where the rich have it. So you try to make money in certain areas to make these things all work. Like insurance does, right? Anyway, have a good one. And hopefully you solve these issues. So it's all about education, and then you get rid of these excuses, and then people know they can't use these excuses, then they will stop doing it less. They'll worry about it more, so it won't happen. Right? And so we've got these things with e-bikes and all this kind of crap, and insurance will change, and the education in certain areas, you'll find that when things happen, they'll have no excuses. You find out what the excuses are, right? And you hang on, see what you're doing, they're all doing it. Right? They could be right, but how can we stop them if they are right without buying this shit? Right? And so on. Anyway, have a good one. And when it comes to, as they say, love wins, well, it's the same way when it comes to cigarette. You educate right, people won't talk about it. Usually when they talk about it, it's not cool. Usually it doesn't last. Eventually dies, right? People will understand that it's like an illness that you've got yourself, right, like a tick, and you just yell into it until you can, or you might even die from it. And that's your choice. Like someone overworking, someone having a bad diet. Someone that smokes cigarettes is like someone having a bad diet. There's no difference between those two. Is that one will kill one quicker, and they've got different choices of their bad diet, or the bad diet people have a lot of choices to the cigarette. And in the end, they're abusing their body. So if the government's having to go about people abusing their body, well, why are they selling products everywhere that allows people to abuse their body like you do? Right? They've screwed up everywhere. Right? You've got to start slow, but first you've got to stop bullying in certain areas to prove that. Have a good one, see you later.